I don't know where to start, but let's just take from what Minty said that films happen to you after advertising. I don't believe that. Would you like to throw some light on this?
First, hi. Um, Pleasure being here. Um, no, actually, I always wanted to be a filmmaker, but didn't know how. Accidentally stumbled into advertising and got addicted to it. Uh, and I feel that, uh, you know, even sometimes I still feel I'm an advertising person, and very few people uh, know me as a filmmaker, more as an advertising person. But um, I think thing really changed for me, um, not so much in my head, but very strangely, I was working for years in Express Towers in Lintas. That Lintas used to be, that's low Lintas. We used to be in Express Towers. And I was going up the lift every day of my life for about nearly, in that particular building I worked for about 10, 12 years, I think. And I was going up the lift daily. And the lift man, and he was there all through all those years. Normally these people change today. You'll find a new security person, a new lift guy. No, that guy was always there. And he has never even smiled at me once, okay? So it was a robotic experience. I went there, yeah, you'd smile at other people in the lift, but he would not look at you. He'll just be, kahan jana hai? Same thing he press. He'll ask me also, kahan jana hai? Every day. And so we go to the 15th floor, press the button, press the button. Distinctly remember um, the day Chini Come released. Okay, and I was still in Lintas, I was working in advertising till Pa. As I walked into the lift, he had such a big smile. हाँ आपको टीवी में देखा कल. I said, यार, how many interviews you've done on CNBC, how many things we've done in this brand equity, how much of stupid interviews we've fought on interviews in advertising. Nobody has given a damn. Okay, and he definitely is. And he's actually the representative of everybody, including my mom, including my, and he smiled. And I think for the first time I felt like a human being that day, you know. Somebody recognizes me, I'm not bad today. So today I thank cinema for that smile which that person gave me after so many years. I really do. But I still feel I'm an advertising person despite his smile or no smile. And in fact, my mom once told me, you know, she never understood what I did for many years in my life. And I've tried to explain to her, I did that ad, I did this ad. And I first started with a print ad where I tried to explain, this is an ad I did. But she asked me, what did you do in this ad? I said, I wrote that line. She said, you go at 9 o'clock in the morning, you work till 12 o'clock in the night to do that line. And to write that line, you have buildings, you have people, and you're an agency, and you guys own this kind of stuff, and you're promoted for all this kind of thing, for this one. I mean, I don't think she, and my dad was a person who, you know, proudly smiled without knowing why he was smiling. He had scant respect for me because he slogged all his life. And he's saying, this guy is getting some recognition on one line out there. So you could never understand it. So I feel most people are like that. I mean, they don't even know that there's a thing called an advertising agency that exists. And we live in a very different world as marketers and people from the communication business and design business. We think everybody knows what we do. Nobody knows what we do. And like I tell people, in Times of India, for example, nobody knows that you can buy an article. If you go to the Bombay Times, all of it is paid, right? You got to pay to have your thing published. Nobody knows it. And even now my mom asks me, why isn't your article come before the film? Why aren't you doing publicity? Why aren't you on Bombay Times? I told her I don't have the money to come on Bombay Times. She said, you need money to come in a newspaper. You know, people are so innocent. Actually, out there, we are in some other, we are talking stratospheric language to almost 80% of this country. They really don't know what it is. And beautifully, innocently does not. And that's how we should all be. And we should be honest to those people who are not assuming anything.
No, I remember a similar experience. I was taking a home loan. So I was standing in front of the counter, and there were like 30 people around me here in Pune. And all of them were from IT, and they were all holding out forms and all. And I was just one meek guy trying to put in my form. So the person across the counter was asking everyone. So she asked, "Ki kahan se?" IT, IT, IT. And I said, "I'm a writer." Then she suddenly set everyone aside and said, "Ki क्या लिखते हो आप?" I said, "मैं टीवी सीरियल लिखता हूँ, मिले जब हम तुम." "Oh, वो तो मेरा favorite serial है." उसने सबको हटा दिया, मुझे वहाँ बिठा दिया. I was feeling so bad for the rest of the people. She said while signing, my loan got approved within half an hour. And she said, अगर आप उतरन लिखते तो मैं %.5% और कम कर देती. So I can definitely understand, and I definitely also understand the kind of chaos this country is known for. There are so many people, so many different types of people, and to this one thing called films and cinema, which actually manages to touch. Other is cricket, which manages to touch everyone. So जब तक आप फिल्म नहीं कर रहे तब तक आपका existence as a creative person है नहीं. But इस chaos में, इस पूरे हमारी कंट्री के chaos में, how do you define, how can you define aesthetics? How can you define good design, whether it is ads, whether it's film, a frame, or anything?
See, it's funny. I think a lot of times when we talk of aesthetics and design, we're talking to ourselves. We're talking to 2% of the people. We're talking to 10%. We're preaching to the converted. We're preaching to all this stuff, and all our talks are about that. A lot of people don't even know there's a thing called a typeface or a thing called, what is design? I mean, design is a profession. I mean, that's absolutely, that's why I said that advertising as a profession don't know. And design is a subset, used to be a subset those days of advertising agency. We used to start a design division, you know, because we thought design was growing. It's as low-key as that. And I don't think it's changed a lot. I'll give you a small example, and I'll define aesthetics in that kind of a thing. We are fundamentally a very ugly country. Okay, we are ugly. I don't know why, and we are ugly not just to us. We are ugly to the people who we call ugly also. I mean, they also feel we are ugly. Everybody feels we are ugly, and chaos is only in our heads. There is no chaos in people's heads. People are very happy. We are saying chaos because we are looking at it as marketers. Oh, these people are like that, those people are. They are all people. They are very happy. They are not seeing any chaos, except some religious chaos that political parties kind of create, or some unnecessary chaos they create. They're not seeing chaos as people. I was in Bangalore yesterday, and I was going through a shortcut. I was going through Alsur market. I remember I was going from the Taj. I turned right, and we used to live in Alsur before. My parents used to live. We used to live in a kind of a chawl, a lane there, and I went past that stuff. And on this side, massive buildings, some, you know, new consulting companies come, glass building, all those kind of stuff. Cut to full design here, right? Exactly the same for the last 60 years. A full lane where actually, if there were 100 people living on the designed part of this side, there would be 500 people living in this chawl going out there. And that has remained static, except for, instead of people watching, they were listening to radio, moved to watching small television sets, now moving to watching mobile. That's all has changed. Okay? And Paytm has changed, the cash versus something else, that much has changed in people. Else the aesthetics are exactly the same. I mean, it's like, I've got a shop to kind of thing, I'll put some damn hoarding, I'll put the font, whatever I want. Somebody will, they don't even call it font. Paint karo, whatever that fellow will paint, whatever color, and you move on. And the mess is exactly the same, and it's always been like that. Now, to define aesthetics in this kind of a scenario is inhuman, because yes, I know people are fighting for survival, people are fighting for, shit, can I pay my rent, can I survive, is my business going to come to it? I understand the dynamics of the entire thing. But I really believe that sometimes aesthetics is not a process of education. Sometimes I feel aesthetics is a force, is you have to force it down. You have to tell people that this is how it will be. You know, when there are regulations in many, many countries, who are saying, no, you will build like this, you will paint in this color, or you will do this kind of thing in this kind of, it actually works, because first of all, it takes a headache out of people. It's a kuch rule kind of, you know, you follow this. And I always believe, like, for example, in a country like this, another way to kind of do aesthetics, we all talk of, Swachh Bharat and that and this and cleanliness and design, everything else. I think we've forgotten that the biggest design points, even to kind of influence people, where do people go? People go to railway stations, people go to bus stations, people go to markets, people go to, of course, very few people go to airports. We've taken a lot of care in the airports. We have taken zero care in most of our railway stations, in most of our bus stops, in most of the common gathering areas. So the moment those things are not looking nice, what are you going to tell people to keep clean? Why will I keep ugly clean? I'd have no motivation to keep it clean. So something is beautiful. Human tendency is not to make it ugly. Yes, there are some callous guys who will do it. But the tendency and a group of people fighting to keep that, clean are a lot more. So I've always told people, if you want to do Swachh Bharat, if you want to do kind of thing, let's start with the most common areas. Let's make railway stations, Indian railway stations, iconically beautiful. Let's make bus stations, forget the country. Forget the lanes. I mean, there's no point in cleaning one lane one day and then letting it go after 10 days. Make these spots, which are actually far more cost effective, which actually kind of educate people into, hey, we have a superb railway station. Our railway station looks damn good. If a railway station is an outing, or if a bus station is an outing into the whole thing, it just becomes a lot more. You need to, make people conscious of more beautiful things. I don't believe beauty is subjective. I think that between two pieces, you may say one is, I like this versus this. You will not say what is beautiful is ugly. You will say, yeah, it doesn't appeal to me, but it's nice, but I prefer this. So therefore, in any way, if you make things look better than what they are, the most common parts of our country, I genuinely believe that it will influence people. The more points which they go to, and what are we doing? We are just making things, we're making these malls, we're making these huge offices, we're making our hotels, we're making our airports look beautiful, and we are crying, saying that people don't have civic sense, we always curse people are making things ugly, people are scribbling on the walls. We've forgotten, how are they going to get educated? This just sending their children to school and you want them to get aesthetics. Aesthetics have to be at a point where it's reachable to them. It's not out. Everything that you're talking of beautifully designed is out of their reach. And we have few things where some artists kind of put up something in Dharavi. They paint the buildings and they expect them to appreciate that as aesthetics. It's impossible. I mean, I have a life to, live. Aesthetics has to be a side product which just seeps into my life like that. And this is where we really need to kind of do a lot of thinking, because I think aesthetics has become a premium business. I think it has to become a mass business. Unless aesthetics is mass, you will not have a more beautiful country. And I think today India, beyond a lot of other things that it needs, I really think it needs aesthetics beyond anything else. We need to make our country look a lot prettier than what it is. And it is tough. I know it is damn tough, but the efforts, I just believe, are done by too few people fighting a very lonely battle out there. And a lot of people who are in the mass game are still happy with the commerce of it and not the aesthetics of it, or the sustainability of it. Everybody's about sustainability and green and everything else as to the atmosphere. I mean, come on, we're human beings first. We can't see the damn air. We can see the damn wall, So I think sometimes if you see a beautiful thing, you can actually breathe much better. It does a lot of things for the equilibrium of the mind, even for people who don't even care about it. It just does things to you. Like you go to a lot of villages out there. In fact, I feel, people curse religion, people curse a lot of things in this country. I think this country would be in tatters without religion. Because I think religion gives people so much of bliss. I mean, whatever it is, forget the fights and the divisions. Take a place like, I was shooting in a place called Maheshwar in Indore for Padman. And every day we were sitting in that Halya fort, and down below, every morning, 5 o'clock, there used to be all these bhajans. Every day there was a festival. Okay, and people came, 5 o'clock in the morning, they are there, 5 to 8 o'clock, they are there doing all bhajans. And then again, they start at 6 o'clock and they move on till 12 o'clock in the night. That is their life. And in the middle, they work and they earn their living and they gather out here. And that temple that they've kept there, it's not one of those public touristy kind of temples. It's the last preserved, they haven't painted it ugly. We think of beautifying temple as painting it yellow or painting it some ugly colors out there. They've kept the stone. People clean it themselves because that is their gathering point. That is every day that they're very happy and a peaceful kind of a town there. So I feel sometimes when you take the places that people congregate most, which give them most happiness, or in some way where they're there most, and you make great efforts to preserve that, you have a sense of aesthetics going in the country.
What an idea, Sarji. No, you're right. But you're absolutely right that we have confused the massy with something which doesn't need to be aesthetic. We are happy with the broad strokes and not really getting into the nuances of things and actually making things simple. Even organization is a brilliant aesthetic to start with.
Correct.
And a lot can be said about this thing in the world of films also.
Totally.
Today. So do you think that lack of nuance, that we've been a filmmaking country, we've been a film loving country, we've loved stories all our lives for 100 years at least now. So do you think this lack of nuance is just pure laziness? I'm talking purely from the film industry point of view, that we are just throwing things at people. Okay, something कुछ तो चिपकेगा, मतलब एक फिनेस होता है, एक कैरेक्टर का डिज़ाइन होता है, एक नैरेटिव का डिज़ाइन होता है, जिसमें म्यूजिक होता है and everything. So I just want you to speak about that.
See, I don't think it's laziness. It's actually a mixture of daftness and it's misunderstanding. And I'll tell you what happened. My friend Rahul Nanda, who's, you know Rahul Nanda, he's one of the finest designers of this country. He's done most of the big films. He's done the design work for most of the big films, or most of the films actually that have happened in this country. He always used to tell me, he tells me sometimes how producers, when he takes a piece of work, not an esoteric piece of work, just a normal piece of work with the actor's face big on a poster and everything, but the logo is slightly not that bang screaming into the stuff. He gives a solid logo. He's not even doing the thin typography to say classy. Producers turn around and say, "Nahi, wo bahut classy dikhta hai picture. To usko massy banao." He just said, you have defined what is massy because 3-4 things years before have worked with that kind of a typeface, with those kind of colors. But people may, if that film had a different poster, the film may still have worked. If it worked because the film also, not just the poster. So he's only telling me, don't think my work is so important that if I make it exactly like that, the film is going to work. No, my job is to give the film an image that people would like to see. And I'm trying to capture the film's image and make it a little better. Obviously, you kind of package it a little better. But no, I just think it's a lot of fear in people of mass will like this. Mass will like bright colors because their life is drab. These are sentences I've heard with clients in advertising. I've heard with producers. I've heard with so many distributors. Mass, color chahiye, iska loudness chahiye, bam chahiye, music bhi loud hona chahiye, sab dabao, sab everything happens. Mass does not need silence. They have too much silence in their life. Their life is very drab, colorless. So therefore we need color, we need song. This is mass, I mean, forget the films themselves. I'm not sure these play a great role in design because there's so many films with all these factors that have flopped. People have never entered the theater. So the mass should be running to everything that's kind of this thing. It doesn't work like that. Also, I just believe, yes, we sometimes mistake aesthetics inside cinema differently. For a lot of films, a cinema is a discotheque. Cinema is a carnival. It's like a cricket match. Actually, cinema and cricket matches are very similar. Some films, you just want to go, cheer, whistle, not hear a single dialogue. You just want to celebrate and come back. But there are some films you want to hear. And both those kind of films do work. It's not like the other one does not work. Everything does not have to be a Gaddar. Everything does not have to be a Pathan. Everything does not have to be a Jawan. There are, even a film like Oh My God worked out there. There are films before that have worked. A lot of films that all of us have done have worked, depending on the economics of that particular film. But we all want to make a film where the film is like a discotheque, you know, where we want to cheer, shout. So I believe the fear is about not so much that we don't know. I mean, I think most people are intelligent. I believe most filmmakers want to make good films. It is the fear of this misreading of what does the audience like. And I always tell people, I mean, why are you trying to read what the audience like? Because I've always said this in advertising too, when clients have asked me and they've told me, you know, okay, tell me how well you understand the consumer. In this, some people have asked me when I was pitching for something else, and I remember this for a fairness cream, I was asked, how well do you understand the consumer? I said, I have no clue about your consumer. I have no clue about my audience. I have no idea. I will, you know, defy any marketer, any consultant, any researcher who says I know the consumer. Because your entire life, with all the yoga, all the meditation, all the awareness techniques, you're trying to know yourself 15%. And you're sitting here and you believe when one fellow cheers or one eyelid moves out there, when he yells, when he says, you know the consumer. He likes that particular, or she likes that stuff. Somebody said, I know, I am an expert in housewife understanding. How can you be an expert in housewife understanding? How can you be an expert in any other human being? You can't be an expert in yourself. So I actually rebel against this entire thing of understanding the consumer. First of all, I abhor the word consumer or anybody else, because they are human beings just like us. And I feel the trip of being a communicator or a designer or something is try and understand, try and make yourself as normal as is possible, as much as is natural, and start doing things only for yourself, not only to the elite side of yourself that you love and absorb. You may go to Paris and see a particular art exhibition, park it aside, walk along something else, get back to your roots. It is about almost undoing growth each time. It is being in the present of where you are always as much as possible, not observing. I mean, I'm not saying observe people or whatever. I'm just saying just be what people cursed you for, just be that only as much as possible. And I believe we can do things for ourselves which don't clash so much. They still will kind of flop 50% of the times because we don't understand ourselves better. But I don't believe that any filmmaker becomes, people are geniuses when things work and they believe they can understand. If somebody told me, this guy's giving 200 crore film, he really understands the masses. The next film flops. Touch, he doesn't have the touch anymore. I mean, how can you have the touch 1 year back and not have the touch today? It's not possible. So sometimes luck is mistaken for expertise in cinema. Not sometimes, always. Luck is mistaken for expertise, because I defy anybody to tell me why certain films have worked and certain films haven't. You shudder to think, how can this make this many crores, that many crores, this many, God knows. I mean, you just say luck and move on.
Absolutely, I absolutely agree with you. But do you think that the way you write films, the way you think of an idea, okay, it may not work in a case of an ad campaign or something, but definitely in films it works, of how people are watching it. Like I'm talking about, you just said about a road where things have changed, where people earlier used to maybe listening to radio, now they all have mobile phones. Most of the films or stories that we write or make are being consumed on this cell phone. So do you think that changes the way you think about those stories, or does it matter to you, or it doesn't matter wherever they watch it? Especially from the design and the design part of it.
Yeah, that's a very good question, because I don't know how to make films for people who have 10 minutes and they go and attend to something, the film is running, and they come back and catch it out there. I mean, if there is some scene which hooks them and they say, hey, nice film because of that 10 minutes they watched, well and good. I only know how to make films for people who've decided to watch a film. I mean, that's all I know. So I cannot make a film with the science of saying today's consumers only watch on the mobile and they're attending to something else and they watch in the film. Too bad. I don't know.
No, no, definitely. In fact, these days I've heard in narrations they're saying कि 5 minute से हंसी नहीं आई, 5 minute तक कुछ हुआ नहीं, and I have shut my laptop and say that I can't help it if you are a sad person and I can't make you laugh or I can't entertain you. So definitely, but mobiles have come into our, literally become part of ourselves. And there's one thing in this mobile which is called a camera, which makes everyone a storyteller today. And in this country where nobody knows anything about being a designer, forget about advertising and forget about anything else, but everyone is telling their stories through that camera. How do we get aesthetics, or how do you think where it's going to go? How do these people, how can everyone is making a reel today, even a person sitting at home wears clothes and makes a reel and just puts a Bollywood song on it, and it can go viral if that person is interesting enough. So how do we bring aesthetic? How do we bring design into that?
See, the scarier part of it is, I think more and more people are finding life here far more fascinating than life there. So I just believe that the uglier you make the life there, the more they're going to look into this stuff.
Absolutely.
I mean, I want to see how many people, this is a very big example, but there are a few interesting spots in India still. Like I was shooting a big tourism film for Rajasthan recently. And yeah, right through the journey, the hours and hours to travel between one place. I remember I was going from one place to Bundi. Bundi is one haunted fort full of bats, kind of a thing. But I was on my mobile. I'm not on any social media. The only thing I watch on my mobile is cricket matches when the match is on, or respond to messages. I'm not on Insta, I'm not on Twitter, I've never been. So I was watching some recorded match, which is the highlights or something. So I was going there, and just there, normally I'd see something and go back on this. So when I saw the Bundi fort, you just put the phone down and you're kind of looking at that stuff. It's stunning. You know, it's so beautiful because it's on top of a hill and it's all not whitewashed, not nothing. It's beautiful. So I just believe sometimes when you have better things to look at, like people go to the Taj Mahal. Yeah, they may take photographs of their wives and of their husbands or whatever on next to Taj Mahal, but they'll still look at the Taj Mahal. They're not going to do, they're not going to be watching a match at the Taj Mahal, or they're not going to be watching a reel at the Taj Mahal. There's something stunning out there. So I just believe the fight is about making the real world a little more beautiful, a little more interesting than what's on the screen. There is no way to make that screen. The screen is created not for aesthetics. It is created for engagement. It is created it's scary. I mean, I always wonder why people are coming to cinema when there's so much that they can watch on this stuff. They're watching. I mean, they're coming to cinema to yell, shout, whatever, come together with some 100 people. It's like a mela and go back out there. It's almost becoming like that. Because they're getting all the jokes here. They're getting all the entertainment here. Everybody is watching reels. I mean, they're talking to you. I mean, we're having a conversation, we're having a drink, and somebody's on their reel. And ha ha ha, they're laughing on their own. It's a crazy kind of thing, but that's life. So our job is to make, if the conversation is going to be less interesting than the reel wins. If the world outside is going to be less beautiful than the reel or less engaging, the reel wins. So I think the real world has a battle, and I think to fight with, and it's going to get more and more complex with things getting more and more muddled up in communication with all the technology that's going to float around. So I think we have very little time to get our real life beautiful. Otherwise, you'll see so much of ruins. It may look beautiful actually finally, but everything garbage all around and nobody's bothered. Everybody's on this kind of a thing. So I'm really scared of how many of us are going to be interested in the real world soon. That's the scary part.
Yeah, especially with the Especially with the AI coming in now, and we are asking it to create, and it's learning from what all we have created until now. So if we are not creating good, then that's what AI is learning, and it'll give us all those trashy images, trashy narratives, trashy things back to us, and tell us that this is who you are.
Or maybe I think if AI is a little more intelligent than the real I, maybe we'll get better. Maybe I think we have a few more years in this business as marketers and communicators. I think it can be easily replaced. You will see a lot of things being replaced by the intelligence that we are only feeding in. It's only going to get better and better and better. So I just feel that uh, the values that we have as people with aesthetics and everything, I think we need to use it really, really fast. You know, otherwise we're going to have other issues, and aesthetics will be deep down the food chain very soon if we don't wake up fast. And especially in our country, I think the biggest industry besides technology is going to be aesthetics in a country. This country is crying for aesthetics. You just look at everything around you. You just how we all rush to, you go through all those gullies and come to one area, Ritz-Carlton out there, which has got these 5 buildings. We feel we've arrived into a civilized area. Civilized, not beautiful. Civilized is different from beautiful. Whereas a lot of parts of Pune are very beautiful. But we still don't know aesthetic. We still mistake aesthetics for glass, steel, a few kind of, you go to, I always say this, why are the rich people so devoid of imagination and aesthetics? The richer they are, I feel that their houses are like, I always call them ravissant stores. You know the ravissant, the store? Why is everything one kind of a vase? That there's some little marble, little mirror thing out there, then candlestick will be there. Everybody's into candles. If they want aesthetics, you'll have see 3 candles out there, some flowers. It's like I can almost say how a rich person's house is going to be today when you go there. When you see the outside of the building, lots of money. You have to be, a person coming in there needs to know that you're not poor, and you've got not taste, that you're not ugly. That not ugly, to just strike off that, you need all the glass and the mirrors and then everything. Just look at the furniture. Lakhs and lakhs of rupees are paid for possibly the furniture that, why would anybody buy that? You just see the dining tables, you see the chairs, you see the stuff, very expensive. It's so lacks imagination, lacks something else. Everybody has matching chairs around a dining table. You're a damn rich guy. You can afford 10 different chairs around a dining table, all worth, let's say, 1 crore each. Okay, imagine having a chair which is 1 crore each. I don't know what they'll put diamonds up their ass, whatever. But I'm just saying, but we have that, we don't have imagination. The more money that we have, the more safer we play in terms of aesthetics. Manicured gardens, manicured stuff. There's a pool. Everybody has a pool. You take the Goan houses. I went to Goa recently. People who have built houses out there, a lot of people from Delhi, Bombay, Pune, all across the world have gone there. Yes, there are a few people who've renovated the old Portuguese villas and left it out there. But all the other buggers are trying to create what they couldn't create in Gurgaon and somewhere else. The bungalows that they always dreamt of living in, with the glass and the steel and the furniture. The same candles have gone to Goa. The same vases, the same dining table has gone to Goa. You're creating one richer. Why would you live? Sometimes if I ever were a terrorist, I would just attack all these stores that have these, just bomb only those stores. They're like, they're killing aesthetics. They're killing aesthetics for the rich. It's madness. I just somewhere I see that it's something revolts. You don't feel like eating it. You lose appetite. And you go to all our actors' houses. You go to an actor's house. They think it's intimidating for you. They don't understand that you're uncomfortable for a very different reason. That it is not intimidation. It is just that how do I tell you that I'm feeling very sad for you? You know, and that expression, people mistake it for intimidation because you're uncomfortable and you're sitting out there. You don't know where to put your this thing there. Something is poking you from somewhere, something. It's crazy. I've yet to sit on a comfortable chair in a rich person's room. You know, I can't find a comfortable, this thing will be slightly broader. Why would you put a broad base? My leg is not coming down properly because this is not aesthetics, it's stupidity. I mean, just give me a Irani chair to sit on. I'll be far more comfortable than that. A lot of people are like that. It's crazy.
No, you're right, because a few months back, or I think a year back, this retrospective happened of Amitabh Bachchan films. And I finally saw Diwar.
Oh,
On the
Shiri's
correct,
restoration of the
yes,
films, yeah.
yes. And I was amazed, and I was just thinking, how long has it been that we've not seen a narrative? And I'm talking about the richness and how we depict people in films also. We've not seen a narrative which is about a dockyard worker or a mill worker. And we do not understand. There's been a distance between the elite and the people on the ground. And that difference has also led to a lot of narrative choices. Like we built multiplexes and we show people, people who are ready to pay that much price of a ticket to see their stories. And not, we forgot, I asked my driver when was the last time he went to a theater. And he went, finally, he said it's been years. And finally he went to see Chup on National Cinema Day because the ticket prices were low. So all that is connected somewhere. And why would a driver, why would a peon go to a theater if his story or her story is not being shown? And I'm just coming back to, I've taken it from that point that the rich, how the rich have lost the sense of aesthetics in terms of the value of the product. The commercial value of the product has taken over the artistic or emotional connection to this. So do you think how do you think is the future of the design and the aesthetic choices that we make generally as people in our lives? How do you, because we all follow an influencer culture these days. Even people who are not so rich, they also watch these rich people or rich influencers who are watching other rich influencers, and everything is just percolating, through that. If I cannot have that bag, then I'll have a replica of that bag. Doesn't matter how ugly it is. So, what is the future? How are we going forward in this?
See, I don't think there's any one formula. I mean, I'm tired of seeing, I'm tired of seeing the romanticization of poverty in this country. I'm absolutely tired. I hate films which kind of I mean, every story may need it, but my entire thing when you start writing a story is, I don't want to show life as it is. I'd like to show life the way I hope it'll be. Or a relationship, I hope it'll be. I don't want to show the reality of a relationship. I don't want to show the reality of even a warped mind. I don't want to show any reality. I want to show a little hopeful reality. So, therefore, I kind of think that the purpose of cinema is to kind of give you a little bit of what life is not. You know, I always believe that somewhere you have a dream. Cinema is a dream. You just have and you don't have to have dream always as a fantasy. You can have a little dream of, in a house this can happen. This may happen. I wish this would happen in my house. I wish this could happen. I wish my wife and I could be like this. I wish I could fall in love like this. Each one is a wish list and a dream. So I just remember one thing when I was shooting Chup, I remember that I had to shoot in Bombay. Actually, strangely enough, I haven't really shot Bombay. I've shot mostly in studios in Bombay. Mostly you go to another place which looks beautiful and everything. So in Chup, I needed to be in Bombay because it was based on that kind of thing. So I went around Bandra, where I live. I discovered that I don't want to show one ugly part of Bombay. I really want to show the most beautiful, not the Ravissant stores, but I want to show the most aesthetically beautiful parts of Bombay. And I went on my bike and I discovered lanes that I have not seen. I've been around that stuff. I went around, behind Bandra Fort. If you just go behind the Bandra Fort, there is almost a cycling path which overlooks the ceiling. It is almost like what is the beach in Sydney? Bundi Beach. What Bondi Beach? The kind of walkway which you go through. It's stunning. I had not seen it. I haven't seen a little kind of a lane which has got all these lovely old Catholic houses in interior of Chapel Road, a lane like that turning around. So I just wanted to be the prettiest film of a deranged mind. Why should deranged mind? Why should always be shitty? Very dirty places. Somebody's peeing there, somebody's shitting there, some blood is flowing always in the gutter. It was nice to see it the first time. You can't go on seeing it every day, and I don't think anybody who lives that life wants to see that life. They want to see a life slightly better. And that's why I always believe a little bit more. And I'll tell you one great example. Manmohan Desai, apparently, and Amirji's told me this. Manmohan Desai always used to say this. I mean, all of his lives, all of his films were fantasies. And, definitely well thought out fantasies. He didn't understand consumer, this fellow, that fellow, like people think. If Manmohan Desai can admit saying that, I didn't understand consumer, whatever, I just did something commonsensical. Okay, he wrote whoever was writers, of course, he was a great architect behind it. He was, he always had he never moved out of his small house on Grant Road somewhere. He was standing there. He was there because the theater was near. He could judge all this stuff. And he was telling Amirji one day, after Amar Akbar Anthony, they were plotting Naseeb. And some guy was saying, we could not get so many fighters today. We got only 10, 12 fighters. He said, cancel the shoot. And Amirji asked him, why are you saying cancel the shoot? 12 fighters are more than enough to the normal fight sequence. And he said, almost like saying, you idiot. You don't understand. Common sense. You were Amitabh in Amar Akbar Anthony. You bashed up 12 people. You're Amitabh Bachchan by the time you come to Naseeb. In people's edge, you're bigger. 12 has to become 24. Till 24 people are there, no shooting. I said, what a logic. The more people you bash up, the bigger star you are. So he used to think aesthetics of a fight scene from a hero's point of view as simply as that. Okay, and I think sometimes when that's what people want to see. Nobody can beat anybody. And if you want to show me a person who's getting beaten up, like in real life, if anybody bashes you, you're bashed up. One kick is enough. I don't want cinema, no. I'll stay in my house and watch this stuff. That's what I sometimes feel, that aesthetics, everything can look a little more beautiful. Not artificially beautiful, a little more beautiful than, even ugliness can be aesthetic. I want to be as ugly as that. It's quite beautiful. It's a lovely kind of a thing to aspire to. And I think that might be easier for us to aspire. Well-crafted ugliness may be better than the Ravissant showroom.
Okay, you must have worked with so many people in your entire career, ad films and films included. Is there any difference that you see from when you started to now, especially in terms of the design thinking, especially in terms of the entire aesthetics? And the country has changed a lot. And maybe it hasn't at very intrinsic level. So what kind of journey that you feel design thinking has had in your view?
I don't think we've changed quite a lot at all. This whole thing of the roads, the airports, and the 4G becoming 5G, Instagram, Twitter. Remove this. I'll tell you solid proof how this country has not changed. And we've got evidence this country has not changed one bit. Look at a film like Jawan. Look at a film like, I can understand Pathan. Shah Rukh Khan has come back after a long time. People want to see Shah Rukh Khan. Look at a film like Jawan. Look at a film like Gadar. Look at a film like this one. What is that? KGF. Look at a film like Vikram. Look at a film like Jailer. This is exactly what we used to love. Or, to the cinemas for 30, 40 years back. What is that? And we got it again, and we are flocking back to the cinema. It's stunning. Evidence is there right in front of you. You're talking a different language. People are whistling and clapping to the thing they whistled and clapped 40 years back. Nothing has changed. In fact, cinema has taught us in one shot. People are wondering, how can these films work? Where is the sense of screenplay? Where is the sense of this thing? This is cliched. I found this boring. I found this rubbish. I found this stuff. I just look at them and just say a very simple thing. Just look at a lot of Amitabh Bachchan films and remove Amitabh Bachchan from them, okay? You will see what those films are really, you know? They're just entertainment. We loved them then. And why are we suddenly feeling, because a few of us have changed, we have been exposed to other kind of stuff in life. We think that everybody else has regressed. No, everybody else is exactly where they were. We are going on some useless journey, okay? And coming back and not trying to understand these people. They are the real, they remind us of our reality. And they are whistling and clapping. So we haven't changed one bit as people. And I'm okay, it's okay. Why should we change? What is this great thing about change? It's fine.
Yes. Hitesh, if you agree, can we move on to our question answer session?
Absolutely,
Or if you,
absolutely.
I'm okay if you have something more
No,
important.
I think we've spoken quite a lot. And thank you for this session,
Pleasure,
Mr. Balki.
thanks.
That's amazing. This was such an honest approach towards the entire scenario, and we really loved it, isn't it? Let's give a round of applause. Okay, so now we open the question answer session, and guys, please don't miss out on this opportunity. We have two amazing people on stage. Yes, one second. Do we have, yeah.
Hi, my name is Hani Bajaj. Thank you for the interesting session and talking about aesthetics. Born in India, love films. Wanted to ask you, you said, right, rich people's homes don't have aesthetics, right?
I never said they don't have aesthetics.
I mean, imagination,
I said they don't
etc.
take chances with their aesthetics.
Yeah, they don't imagine. But I'm just coming back to the fact, isn't where we learn our aesthetics from is Bollywood, right? It is the largest form of media. So what is the role of Bollywood in influencing, more than influencers, the aesthetics to India today and bringing that back? Because today, ultimately, everybody wants a Karan Johar Shadi because that's what they see in the movies, right? And they want to represent that. But if we bring that representation of aesthetics that you're talking about, which is more local, which is more real, wouldn't that trickle down to what people do in their everyday lives? What's your perspective on that? For example, like what you've done with Ghumar, right? Like the whole aspect of bringing a disabled person to change life completely, right?
I think overall, I think Bollywood has never dictated aesthetics right through. Bollywood dictated saris, shirts, pants, what kind of thing the star is wearing, this is wearing, cars sometimes, bungalows sometimes, exteriors. Okay, I don't think Bollywood's really played a big role in the aesthetics of this country beyond that. But I think advertising has played a huge role in actually defining aesthetics, which we've stopped as advertisers in doing. I believe the regression has happened in the advertising sector, not so much in... Bollywood's job is not about defining aesthetics. Bollywood's job is to tell a story, engage. Whereas advertising is about creating aspirations, creating dreams, creating something a little bit more in terms of the brand, the touch and feel. I want to buy something over you. I need to create a thing, halo around you a little bit more. So I think the advertising role is to create a lot of aesthetics, and I think a lot of aesthetics in this country, in a lot of things, has come from advertising in many, many ways. So that's what it is.
Sure, thank you.
Lovely. Anyone else? Yes, Ira.
Hi, my name is Ira. My question for you has to do with user research. So I know that you said that you dislike the word consumer. I'm guessing client and user are both a part of that. The field that I work in, that's something that is sort of core to being able to really creating anything for whoever I'm making something for. I don't know how that works.
Ira, I'm sorry, can you just be a little louder? As in, can you just hold?
Sorry.
Yes, perfect, yes.
Should I repeat that?
No, I think I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your user research, right?
Yeah, how do you, in your discipline, approach it?
See, attempts to understand what is happening in the life of a person gives you a data to roughly figure out, okay, this is, you're in this kind of community, you're having these kind of issues, this is what your thing is, which is, some people may have more issues, if you're targeting especially to certain kind of people, it's nice to understand. But I don't think user research can ever be about understanding an emotion. You know, that's all I meant. I can't understand, I can't pretend to understand your need. I can understand. For example, you're living very far away. Like if most people are moving away from a city and the city is becoming a workspace and most of homes are kind of going away to miles away. I understand the need for mobility. I understand the need. What does a bike have to do? What does a car have to do? If more and more people are kind of moving, I understand those needs. Those are, you know, research which gives me a kind of a foundation for what's the kind of broad area that I'm going to target this entire thing. My thing is about taking a sample of, let's say 500, 600, 700, 800 people, whatever. Sometimes it's as less as 6 or 7, but I'm just extrapolating to 700, 800 and pretending to understand. And I'm mostly talking a lot in some of the consumer products and some of the kind of things that we do, and even in cinema. And even what the OTT platforms do, pretend to understand consumers and their viewing patterns. I mean, I know that they don't understand me when they put forward some things that I may like based on the stuff that I watched before. Rubbish. You don't even understand me. Your algorithm is all wrong. So I just believe sometimes we go drastically wrong, and I just think we need to use research. When I say research, we need to use data that we have discovered, facts that we know, and interpret it in a very, very intelligent, from a lot of instinctive thing that we all have. We are all human beings, and we need to give that room to instinct, and we can't be so data-based, because then you will go horribly wrong if you're so data-based, because sometimes when people react to a question, it's very different from what their real answer is.
Can you probably share like an example of
Yeah.
a time that you had to conduct research and how you do it for something like cinema?
I'll tell you, I did a campaign. I've done many times when, both ways, when I've listened to research and I've not listened to research. I'll give you, just for the sake of this argument, I'll just tell you one thing, and this is for a brand that today all of us abhor, and as designers and woke people, we don't like to kind of attach our names to this brand. But I did a campaign for Fair and Lovely, and I'm very proud of some of the work that, in fact, from the time we introduced the lady commentator, Janelia was the commentator. The first time a lady commentator was on Indian screen was on an ad based on a West Indian commentator that had happened long back. So when I was doing a Fair and Lovely ad, just before that, there was a very controversial ad that was done, that I only did. I'm the culprit. And it's not a culprit, I'm very actually happy with that ad. And you know how fathers always say, no, when you're in a bad state and you don't have money and you're casually telling your wife, I wish I had a son, kash mera beta hota. And the daughter hears about it. Of course I have a product to sell, of course, she's looking plain, she's something else, she beautifies herself like all beauty brands. It so happens to be a fairness brand. Goes and gets a top job and proves to her father that being a girl is no less than being a boy. All the tick boxes, except for the fact that why should she be glamorous and get the job? Why can't she just use her brains and get her job? Like many men can do, many women can do. And I didn't think so far, and I didn't say all that. I said, this is a very real insight. A lot of girls, fine, at that point of time, a lot of parents wanted sons. And I was inspired by a film that I'd seen about female infanticide, and I said, this is happening all across the country. And Fairness Screams were right at they're talking to a certain kind of, a Fair and Lovely talks to the biggest mass of women that there is in the country. So I did that. They did the research for the ad. Unilever did user research for the ad. And the ad bombed in research, and they said, rubbish. We don't empathize this. How can you say this kind of thing? Nonsense. They threw it. Then Unilever came back and said, they said, no, this is completely bombed. But the client there, Vivek Rampal was his name, he was a very gut-filled. Imagine, it's very tough to be gut-driven and instinctive-driven in Unilever, okay? And those few people there changed the course of brands. I know 4 or 5 people. One of them was Vivek Rampal. He said, he asked me, so okay, do you think this ad will work? Because I have a hunch it will. I said, it will. Because nobody is going to tell you that my father thinks this way or my mother thinks this way. They are going to tell you that they love me for being me.
Yeah.
They love the daughter. They love the stuff. You're going to talk to people. You're not talking to those 5, 6 people who've been tortured in there.
Yeah.
In the research group, out of 10, you will pick those people who are healthy families, who are lovely families. And who's going to say my father was bad? He always wishes he had a son and not this thing. Nobody's going to say that stuff. So you'll never get that answer. So on a gut, we went and did the ad. It became one of the most successful ads of Fair and Lovely. 1 year down the road, there was a big furor in Parliament. They said, how is this ad actually promoting the fact that people are discriminating against girls? And I said, that's the ad. Don't discriminate against girls. Girls are as good as boys. But no, they interpreted something. Parliament asked for the ad to be 1 year after it became successful. We wake up so late in this country. It took 1 year for the ad to kind of thing. And I remember I went to the We the People show, the Barka show, and I'll tell you about user research. That's a big example. To address this entire thing, because Unilever asked me to go for that show, because I was the culprit doing the ad. So I had to go face these people. So We the People were there, Barka was there on NDTV, and I was sitting in the lobby. I had gone a little earlier, and there were a lot of these NGOs, NGO heads, who were out to skin me that particular day for having done their ad. I was sitting quietly in the lobby. All of them were going inside various rooms and coming out. They were just going inside, coming out. They all came back looking better than what they did when they went in. And the show started, and they took off. Everybody took off with me. I mean, saying you're a, chauvinist, you're that. How can you do such a regressive ad? And how can you do that? How can you do that stuff? And actually, I thought it was a very progressive ad. I cannot help it if Fair and Lovely is, as long as a product is sold in the market and people are buying it, you please change society and then you ban all these kind of products. Please change everybody's mindset and make sure that nobody ever says we want fair women in those marriage ads out there, and then you can ban any kind of products, unless if some people are happy having a drink. Why are you banning the drink? It's like that. No, some people are having, fine. I was doing all these arguments out there, and I was saying intellectual arguments. I lost it at some point in time. These people attacked me, and I said, guys, you're asking me all this stuff. You're afraid to come on television with your natural skin color. You had to go do makeup and come here so that you look beautiful. And you're accusing that person, saying, no, you cannot tell her to be fair. I'm not telling her to be fair. She wants to be fair. I'm giving her a tube. Is that wrong? Nobody asked you to put makeup. You want to be fair, you went and did makeup and come. For you, it's right. Is it because it's called makeup? And because it's called Fair and Lovely, it's wrong. They stopped fighting with me and I went home after that stuff, after that thing. So I think sometimes user research is very misleading because there's some questions you don't get the right answers for.
Yeah, political correctness cannot be captured on.
You cannot.
Lovely. Anyone? Yes, please. You're most welcome.
Thank you. So Balki, I had seen your film. The first one I saw was Chini Kam, and we had known each other before that, right? So we met before. So there were two things which fascinated me about that movie. One was, of course, that you had done, so I had to see the film. And second was the setting of the film, that it was London, right? And my first reaction to that was that it's in London to make it look good, to make it look clean, make it look pretty. And that is a fact, because a lot of our Hindi movies you have song sequences, and they used to have it in Kashmir, then Switzerland, and suddenly Sri Lanka pops up, now very exotic places everywhere. And I guess that is an effort to beautify, give people an environment, a look which doesn't exist around us, right?
Yeah.
The same point. So I don't know what my question is. My question is that is that why I think movies do have a very large influence in terms of how aesthetics are seen.
Absolutely. I'm saying that when I was answering the question of Bollywood before, I don't think Bollywood's ever driven aesthetics in this way, but I think Bollywood sold destinations a lot of times. It sold a certain way of being. Of course they've done. Many films have done. We shot London because I love London. And I think most Indians love London because we've all read and dreamt, and we've read all the books that we've read, all the images that we've seen of any foreign country was only London before we went there and invaded it. Right now you go there, I don't think it's the same dream. But therefore I was very particular. I knew exactly the kind of things that looked, not the usual kind of thing. I don't want to show St. Paul's, I don't want to show these things, but I just wanted to show it in a way that a Londoner would see London rather than an Indian would see it, because the character happens to be living in London. So it should be very naturally, and he's an aesthetic character, he's running a restaurant. So it should be like he lives in Chelsea, so that the taste is like that. So I just took it like that. I went and searched for the locations which would suit the particular character and those kind of things. I chose only that. And it's a very walking film. So you don't walk in crowded places, you walk in nice places. And it was so funny, if you see that film, because of the walking film, Amitabh Bachchan had a trench coat. And actually, London's quite hot in summer. And in the background, if you'll see a lot of guys in t-shirts and jeans. And he said, I'm the only moron, Balki, you're walking around in a trench coat. I said, too bad, it's a film, it's cold. Just do that, just shiver a bit as you're walking in the train, you'll be fine, nobody will see. And I said, if anybody sees those guys in the t-shirts out of focus background, the film's not working. He says, walk.
Excellent. Yes, please.
You'd said that, and cinema has a very powerful role to play in society. We have been seeing movies which are challenging society or influencing society in ways that are desirable. Small things. We had Three Idiots, we had Shubh Mangal Savdhan, which all question society and attempt to change it in subtle ways. Is it something that has been done by intention, or is it something which is just the flavor of the season? Small things like people wearing handmade saris, for example, or speaking about it would have a very positive role in the society and for our country at large. How do you see the cinema as having a positive or a desirable influence, given the scale that we are at, given the number of people that we are? There was the longest time maybe where the main hero was not gainfully employed. The hero was doing something or nothing, and it did not matter, which kind of make it cool to not work for a certain section of society. So how do you see film changing society in ways that we see the future panning out? And is there an intent at that?
I think Hitesh will agree with me when I say one thing. I think it's too serious. Cinema cannot affect society that much. It cannot. Otherwise, all films will be blockbusters. It doesn't. There are 2-3 people who have affected society. Bachchan has affected society because we all talk like Bachchan, walk like Bachchan, speak the language like Bachchan. So therefore, Shah Rukh is affected. Some songs have affected. I think Lata Mangeshkar and Kishore Kumar have affected society more than anybody else in their time. And today, a few people, Rahman has affected society in the way you kind of think. I'll tell you a small thing, really what affected, and I'll give an example from the South. This is a fact, and this has been researched. It's a fascinating finding. When Ilayaraja became a music director in 1970s, 78 something, and his peak music time was the 80s, the whole of the 80s. And in the South, the most number of romantic films have been made during that era. And more people fell in love and had love marriages during that time, not based on a film, but based on the songs that they'd be singing in their heads to each other. And I'm seeing the girl, or I'm seeing the guy, moving in slow motion, or the hair moving like that, or the guy kind of moving, but the song is playing. It's the song that's triggering the love. And more people remember the anthem of their relationship as a song of Ilayaraja than any other time in the history. And least amount of violent films were done in Tamil cinema, least amount. During that whole 12-year period when Ilayaraja was doing almost 3 songs per day, almost every film was a smash hit based on romantic numbers. There were no item numbers, there were no fast beats, there were no beautiful romantic. The music of South India used to be romance. And when you have a part of the country, being influenced by that kind of a stuff, just imagine everything changes around you. I mean, a very ugly place can look quite beautiful. The aesthetics can change through music too, and sometimes that, to me, I don't think any music has affected the aesthetics of the mind, in the mind of people, than his music for this country. And very rarely do we give credit to sound, to aesthetics, rather than we always credit visuals with aesthetics.
I just want to add on to that. When I was writing Shubh Mangal Zyada Savdhan, which was on homophobia, so it took me a long time to write the climax of the film. I was tinkering with lots of possibilities. Should I make them run away from India because there's no possibility for two men who are falling in love with each other here. But I was not being able to arrive at a very nice, emotionally fulfilling climax. And that's when I took about 6 months to write the climax. And in the middle of it, the Supreme Court gave its verdict. They scrapped Article 377, and actually that gave me the climax of the film. So it works both ways. Cinema is more of a reflection of the society, and yes, we create heroes or characters in those films which people are in awe of, the way they walk, the way they talk, what they wear, like he said, saris, and the music and all that, but it's still a reflection of the society. And I think that's the way it always has been.
It's both are reflecting each other. So the visual I get is these 2 mirrors that are facing each other, and all we need is something beautiful in between. So thank you so much for bringing us such beautiful gems.
I think there's only one weapon that cinema has, actually, besides VFX. The one weapon that cinema has that life does not have. Life moves at 24 frames, 25 frames a second. Cinema today moves at 96 frames. Cinema is surviving on ramping. And those high-speed shots of that hero looking down, low angle, high-speed shots to music and ramp. I think that's the secret of cinema. I mean, you remove that from cinema, you'll have almost nobody in the theater today. And very strange, if you look at the 70s and 80s, heroes were not shot in slow motion. They were shot, and we were doing that study. A lot of Amitabh Bachchan has never been shot in slow motion. Today you take a film like KGF, it has an entry of the same hero 10 times throughout the film, and each one is slower than the other. One is at 48, one is at 72, one is at 96, one is at, phantom shot, 500 frames. He's moving, the same hair is flying, he's coming from this side, the angle is changing. And people are going mad, because you don't see that in life. You don't see high speed in life. It's so strange. And a lot of the world looks down on high speed. Sometimes you read, again, the knowledgeable reviewers saying, fascinated with high speed. I mean, you don't even know our country. Our country works on high speed. It doesn't work. Can you imagine our country, when you do a romantic film, if you don't have a shot of the girl and the guy just looking at each other, turning around and looking at each other, not in high speed? Can you even imagine romance without high speed? You can't. So that much cinema those are the influences of cinema, rather than just actors and, themes and whatever. Cameras have influenced cinema more. Speed of film has influenced cinema more than anything else. I mean, life more, sorry.
That's lovely. Okay, we will take one last question if we have, and then later we move on to our awards. Do we have any questions further? Okay, yes. Can we please have the mic there?
Hi, Bhavin Dabi. I just am wondering, like, I'm very admire what you did in your movies. What George Lucas did to Star Wars, like, if we take out constraints and stuff and somewhat sci-fi, like we were talking, we are not finding something in a present life or what you want to show, like, So what George Lucas done to Star Wars, what you can do to, something else in that way. And I would also like to hear what is your real feedback. Why? Because I'm finding like you're calling your heart right now. So what is your feedback for George Lucas and Star Wars also?
George Lucas, Star Wars.
George Lucas, Star Wars.
What he did in Star Wars, what do you think
I mean, we go to sci-fi. I mean, when we go to out of constraint, I mean, like what we are talking right now, something aesthetics is not there in real world. Something we talk of speed or something, somebody else is doing as a director. Like what you want to do when we compare that two things, like George Lucas, Star Wars, and what you are thinking about that and what you can do in that.
If I knew the answer to that, I'd be making it, I'd be a billionaire. Yeah. I don't know the answer to that. George Lucas took years to kind of do Star Wars. He thought of space,
No,
not some...
I don't mean that, in that way, in that context. But I mean like, if constraints are not there and sci-fi is there, like, we are not looking at AI, like,
No, we try. We also try Adi Purush. We try, yeah. We're rich in mythology. We are culture. We go back to our culture.
I'd not expected that. Okay.
Lovely.
We do various versions of Ramayana. Anybody gets bored, they want to do historical, they go back to the Ramayana. Yeah.
Wow, this was so amazing. Would you like to conclude by saying anything very interesting if you want, even Hitesh for that matter? Just a couple of lines if you want. And how was it here? Maybe, how was it here to be at the Design India show?
Thank you Design India for having me here. And thank you Sudhir and the entire team. And wonderfully organized, and it was great. I spent the entire day. After so long, I was seeing and looking at presentations from as a designer rather than being a writer and a filmmaker. And that was very wonderful to see. To talk about typefaces, to talk about branding and all that. And thank you, Balki sir, for...
No, thank you, Hitesh. Thank you so much for your patience and your insights. Thank you. Just persevere. And thank you, Sudhir. Thanks the whole team. I think it's first great having a show on design. It's possibly one of my most, not only it's the need of the day, it's almost, I think the economy of the future is only design as far as this country is concerned. I really think it's a crying need. And the more designers we can have, the more people, more ways we can influence design. Great. Thank you guys for having this show and having me here. Thank you. It's been a wonderful day.
Wow.